So Dominic Thorne, after Iron Man gave her new show two thumbs up, is now saying she is distancing herself from the Iron Man comparisons in a new interview. Here's the problem. You're going to be compared regardless. And the reason why is because you're trying to carry the mantle of Iron Man, the OG character. And those are big shoes to fill. And when you have a character who did it so well, now you're stepping into his shoes, you can't escape that whatsoever. On top of that, Riri Williams and Iron Man's Tony Stark, they're saying they're very different characters, and Dominic Thorne explains exactly how. And Disney, they just want to do this thing where they want to race swap every character to legacy characters and think it's going to work. It hasn't worked whatsoever. And as she says here, there's a clear understanding that she's not Tony Stark. She does not have $1 billion at her disposal, even though Tony Stark was in a cave and he had spare parts to build his suit. She doesn't have the mentorship or the guidance. Yet somehow we're supposed to feel sorry for her, even though we've never seen Riri Williams go through any struggle. She's going to have the suit and go out and fight bad guys. And we're supposed to just buy into that idea. The thing is, when you're developing a superhero, you want to see their humanity and they're more relatable. When you just make them all powerful and they got this status, like, okay, cool. It's like, an NBA superstar where they are just arriving on the scene. They play, let's say, 5 years in their careers. They make their first two playoff, let's say, Western Conference Finals or NBA Finals. And the other player has been doing it for 10 years, and they've got 4 championships, a few MVPs. And the guy who's in the NBA Finals now, they're saying, oh, he's better. When the reality is he still has a longer career ahead of him and has to build out his resume. What's the resume here for Riri Williams? She wasn't accepted really well in the comics. And again, the last time we saw her was in 2022. So I don't know why Disney continues to push this whole agenda. I think it's a good idea that it's going to be successful because it's not. They took forever to release the trailer, and you're having this TV show come out right before the start of Phase 6 because Phase 6 is do or die for Marvel. If it doesn't do well, the entire idea of a multiverse, continuing the X-Men might be in jeopardy. Because what's the point of watching Marvel films anymore if you can't even make a good Avengers movie? So I just don't have a lot of faith in this working out. And again, Iron Man gave her, credit. Said, hey, like you got love for me. I'm going to give you 2 thumbs up from Robert Downey Jr. It's almost like you used him to promote your TV show so people will watch you. Use his name so people will pay attention to you. Like that's kind of weak in my opinion. Market your show by using an OG character and then turn around and say, well, you know what? He was a billionaire. That's why he had all that success. And I'm really better than him because I'm going through a much, much deeper struggle than that Iron Man could ever imagine because he had the resources, even though when you look at the development of Iron Man from the first movie, they just completely forget about the fact he was in a cave building out his first suit. And saying in the trailer, I want this to be iconic, you're force feeding, yourself on the fans, and that's just not good. When you don't have a struggle again, when you don't have a good background, people just aren't going to be as invested into your character. Those are just facts. We don't see you going through the journey of reaching the mountaintop, of getting to a place where you had to fight through the adversity. It's just not going to work out. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. starred in Iron Man for a very long time. And to want to distance yourself from the character, I mean, we saw how this played out. And this is a different example, like Rachel Zegler with Snow White, how she bashed the old film. How did that work out for her? Not too good. So to dismiss an OG character that people were invested in, that people cared about, and they watched throughout the years as he, grew in his role, brought fans to Marvel. If you're just going to stay away from him and say like, oh, well, look at me, I have all these social issues going on, people just aren't going to care. That was just a fact. It's not because she's black, has nothing to do with that whatsoever. The facts are there's no struggle. And a lot of the new films and TV shows that Marvel's been putting out, especially with the female characters, they don't have any background stories you really care about. Outside of Black Widow's sister, because her sister died, I think you can relate to that. And they show like her upbringing. You're like, man, like she went through a lot. That's why I like Yelena's character a lot. But you don't see that with other heroes. WandaVision, that show was great because Wanda really went through a struggle with trying to figure out how to have this made up husband who she fell in love with and he died, Vision. and now you have a made up, thing that you created, and you have to get rid of him. And that was a huge, huge moment in her life, and you can relate to that, right? But these other female characters, you don't see that happening in this universe or in these films or TV shows. It's like, I have these powers, I've got this title, accept me for who I am. It's like, no, we don't have to do that. So I don't get the whole idea of wanting to distance yourself from comparison when you have an expectation and shoes to fill. That's just natural. Again, you can dismiss Tony Stark, but he still built the suit in a cave, and saying Riri Williams' identity is beyond Iron Man. Well, what are we really saying there? It's rooted in vulnerability and trauma, the human consequences of her brilliance, and the aftermath of her kidnapping. It's like, all right, like you're force feeding this, and a lot of people just won't buy that. I don't think it's going to turn out really well, in my opinion. And there's a number of factors of why that's going to happen. You already see the backlash and the dislikes of the trailer. I can only imagine how bad it's going to be when it drops on Disney Plus next month. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what Dominique Thorne had to say about how she's just trying to keep herself away from the comparisons of Iron Man, how she kind of dismissed Iron Man's accomplishments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.